At the Australian citizenship ceremony for Ryde residents, there were 83 new citizens from 25 different countries, from Armenia to Zimbabwe. As the new member for Ryde, I will lead by example and do everything I can to embrace and celebrate all our cultures within Ryde and to promote the beauty that our diversity brings. Ryde is a real microcosm of metropolitan Sydney. This is why she is regarded as the pulse of metropolitan New South Wales. Ryde has the three major public transport arteries coursing through her: buses on Epping, Lane Cove and Victoria Roads, ferries on Parramatta River and trains on the Northern Line. Ryde houses the Macquarie Business Park, which will soon be the second largest central business district in New South Wales. Ryde also has within her growing domain magnetic shopping centres at Macquarie, Top Ryde and Eastwood, and an array of businesses from the corner shops to the global giants. Ryde also houses important places of education such as Macquarie University, 2 TAFE colleges and 18 primary and secondary schools. Ryde must be catered for because she is so pivotal to the people of Ryde and to the many other people in New South Wales who will increasingly gravitate to her and rely on her each day for employment, education, industry and commerce. However, infuriatingly, over the past 13 years, the people of Ryde have laboured under asphyxiating traffic conditions, traffic which is now clotting the feeder roads. They have laboured under appalling mismanagement of rail services that has resulted in the trains on the Northern Line running late 75% of the time. And they have laboured under absurd levels of public waste. In recent times, this has meant that nearly $100 million of public monies have been lost on the failed T-card, and tens of millions of dollars of public monies has been lost on transport projects that will never see the light of day under Labor. I seek an extension.
Question is that the member for Ryde's time be extended. All of those of that opinion, please say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, no. I believe the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The Honourable Member for Ryde.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The inability to manage major infrastructure works can also be found in the fiasco of the Cross-City Tunnel and the folly of the Lane Cove Tunnel, and the Parramatta-Chatswood, now the Epping to Chatswood rail link, which will come at twice the cost and for half the distance. This blatant delinquency and waste of public monies resonated in the recent by-election results, where the people of Ryde decided that it was time to start the change. Yeah. Some of my visions for Ryde include the absolute need for long-term public transport infrastructure plans. This will emancipate Ryde from the traffic prison that is one of the tragic legacies of this Labor government. But we need people in government that can make sure that public transport is reliable and runs on time, and we need people that have the ability to manage important projects, people that will ensure that the projects do not run at twice the estimated cost for half the return. Significant infrastructure works will also bring much needed stimulus and leadership into our economy. In order to grow our economy in concert with significant public works, we need to remove the shackles from business incentive. Payroll tax, for example, is absolutely regressive in nature. How can government encourage economic growth by taxing businesses for employing people? It is socially abhorrent. Government should tax profit, not the means or the will to achieve it. We should seriously consider reducing payroll tax with a view of ultimately abolishing it. This will send a strong message that New South Wales is serious about creating growth. We should also balance economic growth with rigorous consumer protection laws so as to limit the extent of big business exploitation on the individual and on competition. This is consistent with my drive to look after the battler. I want to realign social values that focus on getting people to take responsibility for their actions. Graffiti is a simple and graphic example of how realignment of social values can have an important impact on our society. Ryde Council has spent $170,000 this year cleaning up graffiti. Recently, a major Sydney newspaper reported that last year's councils and state government agency spent an estimated $200 million cleaning graffiti and related malicious damage incidents. Yet the most recent attempts at managing graffiti laws provides a relatively minor deterrence, being a maximum fine of $2,200 or 6 months imprisonment. And under the Young Offenders Act, the likelihood is that the young offenders will be let off with a warning. A solution would be to amend the Young Offenders Act to make graffiti an offence not covered by the Act. Magistrates could then order the young vandal to clean up the graffiti. Indeed, regardless of the age of the vandal, the courts should, unless there are compelling personal circumstances, impose a community service order requiring the vandal to clean up the graffiti they were responsible for, together with other graffiti in the area, to a maximum number of community service hours that is reflective of the actual public cost of the vandalism. Let me make this clear. I don't want to see people in prison for graffiti offences. I want to help people by getting them to clean up their mess and learning from their mistakes. Another possible alternative is to have parental responsibility orders whereby the parents are ordered to remove the graffiti or pay for the costs of the removal and/or a fine. A substantial fine that acts as a proper deterrent rather than a maximum $2,200 slap on the wrist. If we introduce laws, then let them at least be effective and a real deterrent. This is not just about graffiti. It's about wanting to spend the $200 million of public monies a year on helping those in genuine need, like the child battling with leukemia or someone suffering with dementia. We need to place a higher value, a higher premium on public monies so that we stop the waste on ill-conceived projects. We need to remove the culture of graffiti and senseless vandalism that absorbs so much public monies. We need to become more efficient in the administration of government so that public monies can be used on our most needy. We need vigilant management of precious government resources, because without this, vital frontline services such as those provided by our teachers, our nurses and our carers will suffer. And if we cannot or do not properly look after our most vulnerable, then we have failed as a society. I also have a vision for our environment. I was recently invited by Ermington Public School to address its young students in relation to an eco-garden they established. I told the students at the time that it was the first time that I addressed an audience whose hearts were so pure. It's refreshing when I look around in this chamber tonight that I see so many pure hearts around me. Order. These children were so excited and justifiably proud about their eco-garden. These children will one day be the custodians of the national parks and the rivers that cradle our beautiful Ryde. I want to make sure that our natural environment is not only preserved, but also enhanced so that we can pass it on to the enlightened stewardship of those to come. Mr. Speaker, this chamber should be a place where robust debate occurs and ideas are generated. All members of this House have powerful obligations to those watching us, to inspire the people we serve. Often there are young students who come to observe this chamber during question time. Within these students are future premiers, ministers and members of Parliament. How we behave will influence their young minds and the type of leaders we create for our future. Robust debate needs courageous debate. It is time to debate whether we should have community-initiated referendum. It's time to debate whether we should have a mechanism whereby on sitting days, community leaders can address the Parliament on both the problems they face and their suggested solutions. By spending 15 minutes each sitting day just prior to question time and listening to community leaders, we would add value and currency to our Parliament and the decisions we make. Mr. Speaker, I am a Liberal who has entered this Parliament at a time of inspiring opportunity. In a time where a man with African heritage is President-elect of the United States of America. In a time when the Liberal Party selected a Vietnamese boatwoman to be the party's candidate for the seat of Cabramatta. Yeah. In a time where the people of Ryde ignited the engine for change. I am proud to be a Liberal and to represent the people of Ryde because I want a government that will promote a strong economy through sound economic management, because I understand that without a strong economy, none of my ideals can be achieved. I am proud to be a Liberal and to represent the people of Ryde because I want a progressive government that helps the battler by promoting equal opportunity over equal outcomes. I am proud to be a Liberal and to represent the people of Ryde because I want a government that will look after our young, our old, our sick and our poor. I come into this Parliament with much anticipation, much hope and much vision. I come into this Parliament as part of a dynamic Liberal Party that is enthusiastic, hard-working and representative of our community and is ready to govern and serve the people of New South Wales. I am proud of my coalition colleagues who stand with me in this chamber. I come into this Parliament at a time when the good people of Ryde have started the change for the better.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much.
Excellent speech.
Congratulations. Great presentation. You enjoyed that. You looked very relaxed.
That was great. That was great. Really, really outstanding speech.
I've got a cold, mate, so I won't give you a kiss. All the best. That was great. Well done, brother. Well done, mate. It's very, very good. Excellent.
Well done, Victor. Great entry, mate. Good luck. Good luck. We'll look at it.
We'll try and look at it, mate. Tonic for the soul. Best ever. Change the mind, champ. Wouldn't miss it for the quiz.
Great speech, Victor. I'm proud of you, mate. Well done.
Well done, Victor. I'm proud of you, lad. You did well. Very well. Great.
And the killer.
How are you? Brilliant.
Yeah, well done, Victor. We've got the solution. We're talking about this afternoon. We'll look at it for work.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Next time.
Good on you, Vic. Congratulations, mate. Well done. Well done. You go out there.
Well done to you, mate. You enjoyed that?
It's downhill from here.
Yeah, no. Well done.
Congratulations. I love the stuff that was about the family. The graffiti stuff, we'll have to have discussions another day.
Thanks, Paul.
Well, it's fun. Anyway, well done. Good on you.
Congratulations. Well done. Very good. Thank you. Congratulations, Victor. Yes, you can. Yeah.
Well done, Victor. Excellent. Well done, mate. Good on you. Good on you, Victor. Well done, mate. Victor, fantastic, mate. Good on you, mate. Yes.
Excellent. Well done, mate. Good luck. Good future.
Well done, Victor. Yes, great, mate.
Victor, I did get out of the chair. Listen, I've got to relate to some of that myself, mate. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Good luck. I have your notes, please. And welcome aboard.
Here, now I've been something to it.